Come on, Piglet.
Oh, no.
What was I
Hello, Pooh Bear.
The third show Disney's Pooh starred in was 2001's The Book of Pooh, which is the first show to debut on the Playhouse Disney block. Even though New Adventures aired on there as well, this is the first Winnie the Pooh show to debut on it. This show is probably the most visually unique show I have ever seen. Instead of going full stop motion, or having legless puppets like on Sesame Street, Shadow Projects uses full body puppets for all the characters. And I think the medium works perfectly for a show like Winnie the Pooh. Since the characters are mostly stuffed animals, the puppet style works super well since all of the characters look soft and cuddly. The 3D backgrounds look a little off sometimes, and some shots look obviously green screen, but I still madly respect them for putting so much effort into the visuals. The Book of Pooh leans a tiny bit more into Welcome to Pooh Corner, where there's a song in each episode and a basic story to go along with it. This sounds like a bad thing, but I think it works a lot better here. First off, the characters aren't out of character, and feel/look like themselves. Second, the songs only play once in each episode, and thirdly, unlike Pooh Corner, the characters feel organically put into these stories instead of the characters just being excuses to explain things. All of Pooh Corner's weaknesses are the Book of Pooh's strength, and as the cool kids say, we love to see it. This is perhaps the most character-focused show out of all of them, and that's saying something since New Adventures was pretty character-focused too. But I think it's even more so here, since there's more room for the characters to breathe and be themselves. Hell, some of their comments to one another can be really funny, and even snarky.
But if I could just...
Remember, Rabbit, relax.
It's just that my garden...
Don't make me pounce, you bunny boy.
But I'd still like to get a few things done. I can't... All right.
I'm afraid we may have created something of a monster, Pooh.
Oh dear, where, Piglet?
I mean, Rabbit is getting a bit too big for his britches, don't you think?
Well, I don't believe he actually wears any, Piglet.
I think we might have to tell Rabbit that we sent the ribbon.
Oh, well, why didn't you just say so? What? And I'm never laughing again. Period. Knock, knock, Tigger. Who's there? Amos. Amos who? A mosquito just bit me. I don't think my laugh is asleep. I think it just left town. Ugh.
Honestly, the character portrayals remind me a lot of the 2011 film Winnie the Pooh. Because in that movie, they shifted the focus from being heartwarming to being more comedic. The Book of Pooh does something similar. It has plenty of wholesome moments, but the focus feels more story and comedy driven. Both Book of Pooh and the 2011 movie impressed me on how they're able to shift the writing style without it feeling off. Well, okay, Owl did feel out of character in the film I mentioned, but that issue isn't present here. Another thing I adore is the music. The series has a requirement of putting a song in each episode, sometimes multiple if it's a special, such as the holiday episodes. Though sometimes they do get very fancy and decide to do a reprise of the song to make it more impactful. This can be a massive risk, and the implementation of it can be super hit or miss depending on the show. The Book of Pooh thankfully does this concept really well. It reminds me a lot of Phineas and Ferb style of music, where they experiment with different song genres to keep things fresh. I wonder if Phineas and Ferb took any inspiration from this. I doubt it, but it is a funny coincidence. Is it weird to hear Pooh singing country, or the gang singing whatever the hell this is?
What is that?
What is it?
What? What is it?
What is it?
What is it?
What is it?
A green thing from outer space. It's got no eyes, no ears, no face.
Is it friendly? It might be mean.
And all we know for sure is that it's green.
Seriously, is this rap? Is it sci-fi? I'm not sure. Yeah, but I think not sticking to one genre is the best way to make each song stand out. Though the abundance of auto-tune is very, very distracting.
You'll never
They tried adding an educational aspect to this show by having the narrator talk to one of the characters about a vocabulary word based on the episode. But even though it's fine, it doesn't really add much. Hill contributes so little that they flat out removed the segment altogether on Disney+. Even with this removed, this show absolutely loves spreading book propaganda, especially when Owl's in an episode. He's always going on and on about how a book is a great way to gain information, and typically uses books to solve the problem in the episode, or in some cases start them. Like the time he taught Eeyore to become a party animal.
You party animal, you. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Where was he in Barnyard? I'm not surprised that a show called The Book of Pooh is pro-reading. Sometimes it just feels like this show is going, read a book, you worthless peasant! At this point in this massive video, I've started to notice what plots they reuse from show to show. And this one in particular has borrowed some plots from Pooh Corner and New Adventures, such as characters switching personalities, a character living with another character, a character refusing to eat because they're a picky bitch, Mood, Piglet trying to share his poetry, and even making another Western story. Though, honestly, I like this show's take on it much better. For some reason, the franchise loves the idea of Tigger and Piglet switching places, because it's in this show, and even Winnie the Pooh, A Very Merry Pooh Year. And spoiler alert, it won't be the last. Another thing I want to bring up is that Kessie is a regular character in this. Continuity-wise, it's kind of weird, since in New Adventures, Kessie left until she was older, but this implies that she was always here? I don't want to think about it too hard, especially since another show hurts my head more than this one does in terms of continuity. But she's a nice addition. She isn't my favorite character in the show, but I enjoy her inclusion. Weirdly enough, she appeared in the show before even Kanga and Roo, who don't appear until season 2. Also, Christopher barely shows up in the show, and when he does, his face is covered. He doesn't have a British accent here either. He only made one appearance in the bulk of episodes I've watched, with him mostly being mentioned outside of the theme song. But he was in a straight-to-video movie called Stories from the Heart. Since I've seen the whole thing, I might as well share a few aspects of this compilation that I thought were interesting enough to bring up. First off, Kessie was trying to help Rabbit Garden but didn't know how. But since he was her guardian in the last show, you'd think she'd know this like the back of her wing. Also, in Tigger's story, he mentioned that he had a stripedy nursemaid?
It was just something my good old stripedy nursemaid used to do.
I tried listening to this part many times and I still can't make out what he's saying. But it stuck out to me because for decades he's saying about how he is the only one. And Disney even made an entire movie proving that he doesn't have a biological family. Yet this implies that there's more than one Tigger. Oh, and this story has the most passive-aggressive lullaby song I have ever heard.
Go to sleep before you make us cranky.
Do it soon or else we'll all go crazy.
Lastly, when the gang was cleaning up Christopher's room before his arrival, Pooh put away another plush bear. Chris has been cheating on him with another bear, and it went under his radar! And those were my last minute thoughts on the VHS tape that I might or might not have owned. Also, side tangent, but one episode actually scared me when I first watched it. There was an episode where characters were discussing dinosaurs, and the song in the episode was a fantasy sequence of the characters dressing up as dinosaurs. For some reason, this freaked me out, and I closed my eyes through most of it. I would have included it in my trauma video, but that was Nick trauma and not Disney trauma. And unfortunately, I don't have as many Disney-related trauma stories, so I wanted to share this one on here. Honestly, I enjoy this show quite a bit as well. I might even prefer it over New Adventures than Winnie the Pooh. It just feels more like Winnie the Pooh to me, and has a nice cozy vibe to it. It's probably not for everyone, but I'd honestly recommend the Book of Pooh as well.
Coming up next, Sab uses his super sleuthing skills to discover my friends Tigger and Pooh.